This week, Alchemy goes alpha mode. Your arena lands now with more space. Leave your meatball and noodle piles at home. They are no longer welcome here. Mishra's body melds into a war machine? Welcome to Magic Proving Grounds, the only Magic the Gathering podcast that proves you don't need to win a Pro Tour to get your own Magic card skin. I'm your host, Moderator Dave, and with me are two other individuals who also host this podcast, Ben.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
And other Dave.
Hey,
I was writing your names in the show notes so you remember to say that.
Yes. This intro went a lot smoother than the last 24. The last 25. So what you guys been doing this week?
Playing Magic with myself. I haven't had time to get out and play with people.
Oh, you can get some friends.
I think it's more accurate if you take the word magic out of it.
This is a family podcast.
Why did you invite me to it then?
How do you think you make a family?
Not like that.
By playing Magic, of course.
Yes,
Magic has gotten me everywhere in life.
certainly so. So what were you doing, other Dave? Since Ben was just shuffling his own decks, all week.
I just played Arena all week. I didn't do anything special on it.
That's cool. Well, tell you what I've been doing.
Overwatch 2.
Overwatch 2.
Yeah, that's taken over a lot of time, too.
I wasn't a big fan of the first one, so.
Well, that's your loss.
Well, it's I have motion sickness, guys.
That's right.
First-person shooters.
I do too, but video games have never bothered me.
It's the worst, man. With me, I play 3 or 4 games and then I throw up and then lay down for the rest of the day.
But I absolutely cannot ride any sort of rides anywhere.
Oh, that sucks.
Mm-hmm.
No Carnival roller coasters in Infinity Land. The Dr. Emporium.
Every time I end up somewhere too, I get arrogant about it, and I'm like, you know what? I'm older now. I can handle a roller coaster.
Because that's usually how it goes. The older you get, the easier it gets to handle.
Yeah, I've got this. And then I spend the next hour hunched over a trash can at Kings Island, puking my guts up.
As long as you don't throw up on the runaway mine car and Six Flags Over Texas and get the next 5 cars behind you and then have to...
Dude, it was the mini mine train. It was a kid. Look, our dad threw up on the mini mine train at Six Flags Over Texas on the kiddie version.
Oof.
He threw up on a bunch of kids. 5 cars back.
I threw up on the teacups at the fair one time.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It had that spin wheel in the middle.
Oh yeah.
And so there was just like a pool. It was just like a pool of my vomit on the spin wheel. And it literally like a scrying pool of vomit because it was concave.
Oof. Let's move on. This has gone in a not good direction. Guys are demented. I blame myself.
Greg's into it.
Okay, so what I've been doing, I did a couple of things. First thing I did, because I was kind of interested, and I think I mentioned a couple podcasts ago that I was looking into getting into Netrunner, the asymmetrical card game where you're a hacker, hacking a corporation. Cool stuff. Very cyberpunk. Anyways, they had their World Championship last weekend. So I thought I'd tune into their coverage, see how it compares and contrasts to Wizards coverage, and see if I could learn a few things about the game while I was there.
And Wizards doesn't own Netrunner?
They own Android Netrunner, the game, the IP license that the Fantasy Flight game was originally based on.
Oh, okay.
Which is why Fantasy Flight stopped making it. It's really weird.
It's made by Richard Garfield?
Yeah. So
Nice.
it was meant to be. Okay. It's not where I plan on going, but since you're asking questions.
Sorry, I'm not super familiar with it, so.
Okay. Well,
it says Deckmaster on it. Or
yeah.
Deckmaster on the back of the card, plus it looks like a little Windows 95 button.
Mm-hmm. That was originally the Android Netrunner was originally envisioned to be the second prong of the Deckmaster's brand. Didn't go so well. I don't know why they decided, Wizards themselves, to stop making it, but they eventually sold the IP license to Fantasy Flight Games, and they redid everything. They reworked the game and turned it into a living card game, and then produced it for several years until the license ran out. And then when it came time to renew it, Wizards was like, nah,
you're making money off of this now. We got to make the money.
Well, it's probably the whole Hasbro mentality where they're wanting to make lots of money, so they're going to sit on this IP until they can utilize it to maximize money. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. They were going to jump on the back of the Cyberpunk 2077 popularity, and then when it sucked, they were like, never mind. We'll just chill for now.
Yeah. So the community kind of came together and formed a nonprofit to continue advancing Netrunner outside of that IP. So that's where that's what they're doing now. They print cards and stuff. It's kind of cool.
So they're making like Rogue Netrunner.
Basically,
that's like the most Netrunner thing ever, right?
It really is the most cyberpunk thing ever, where you're just like, we're just going to do what we want.
Corporation, we're going to make this out.
So their coverage was really good for being put on by a nonprofit organization, right? Go ahead.
Do you guys hear any real quick? Do you hear any background noise?
No.
Okay, good. My neighbor's dog is fucking losing it.
Oof.
Make sure it wasn't coming through.
A little late for the mail.
What's going on?
Must be that backdoor man coming in to your neighbors.
Your neighbors are just getting Jasoned in their backyard.
Maybe he's lighting the kitchen on fire again.
Maybe.
It is the neighbor's house where the dog turned the oven on and caught their kitchen on fire.
Is it the one where the guy was hanging sheets outside?
No, that's the other side.
That's wild. That's a story.
Not in October, by the way.
No, it was like January because it was cold outside, and they went outside and they hung. They
weren't even gonna dry.
They wrapped their sheets through all their tree branches. It was the craziest thing.
That's friggin' wild. So as I was saying, coverage really good considering that this is like a nonprofit organization running coverage. I would say that the commentary and the people doing the commentary was on par with what Wizards does as far as being interesting to listen to.
Yeah.
Same over the table setup that Wizards does at their Paper Pro Tours and stuff. So there was no variation there.
It's almost as if you have a passion for something and you're really dedicated to it, you can punch well above your weight class,
Yeah, exactly.
When you have so much corporate rules and corporate everything's been washed and sanitized PC wise and all this other stuff overly saturated by corporate influence, then it kind of shows,
Yeah.
So these guys are scrappy underdogs coming in through and making a pretty decent
making a pretty good decent production. The only thing there where I think Wizards has it up on them, and this is 100% due to the amount of money Wizards can throw into stuff, is that they didn't have the little blips in between matches and rounds that Wizards typically does, where they'll go off and talk to somebody on camera.
Yeah.
Or they'll have a pre-produced video that they play in between matches. So
the poorly computer graphic that looked good at the time, but now Now you're watching it years later for like Amonkhet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're like,
so they don't have that stuff, obviously. So, but very nice considering what they had to work with. And it's a very interesting game to watch, even though I must admit, didn't know what was going on a lot of the time.
But can you teach us the rules now? Can we Netrunner?
Probably, yeah.
Like, can we do it scrappy like on a tabletop simulator or something?
Can I hack your system? Wink, wink.
I don't know if that's a sex thing, so I'm not going to respond.
I'm going to run your net.
But there's actually
a backdoor into it.
Let me get to it, and then I'll touch on my last point, and then it's called gentechie.net, and you can play Netrunner on there.
Oh, cool.
Like fully supported. Well, I won't say fully supported. Like it has a rules engine, but it works funny.
We got to cut that so that they're not onto us.
Oh no.
The wizard shut it down.
So that's cool. One last thing I want to touch on about it that I thought was very interesting when I was watching coverage was that they just straight out said, hey, we fully support proxies at all our tournament events. We've even got a printer here at the convention center. So if you need to get some proxies made, you just go there and they'll print them off and you'll be good to go. So I thought that was really interesting. And also, again, shows that disconnect between like a for-profit company and then a nonprofit organization. It trying to advance the games for the sake of the game itself versus
so they don't own the rights to Netrunner and they can't print new cards?
They make new cards. I think it's because they dropped Android Netrunner and then reworked some of the IP.
Do they in any way, shape, or form sell cards?
They do not. They have like drive-through cards print. You can order a bundle of cards from drive-through cards that is like printed cards that you can get, but they don't print them. You go there and you print them and then they send them to you.
Sticking with the cyberpunk theme.
Yeah. So I don't think that they're printing cards themselves and holding inventory and stuff. But like I said, I'm like a month into the scene, so I don't know how everything shakes out. But it's cool and it's like right up my alley.
It's cool that they let you print proxies, but that's also how like a company makes money to perpetually make games is by selling cards to play in tournaments and stuff. So I don't know if that's. I mean, I see why Wizards does what they do, and they're definitely for profit. I do find it interesting you use the term organization and not a non-profit corporation. So I don't know what their structure's like. Yeah, because make no mistake, a non-profit corporation is trying to make money too.
Yeah, it's my understanding that it's all volunteer staff and stuff. I don't think anybody's getting paid for nothing. So, anyways, Netrunner lets you print proxies and use them in tournament events, which is kind of the exact opposite of what Wizards does.
Even non-profit organizations have to have at least one employee that gets paid. By the way. And they have to make a minimum of minimum wage.
Okay. Well, somebody's getting paid then, at least one person.
Hey, that's good. Get them paid.
Get paid. Anyways, you keep... I like move the proxy
T-balling it up
to friggin' like segue into our next bit, and you keep tripping me, keep ripping the football out, Charlie Brown and me hard. Okay. Anyways.
Oh yeah, I am Charlie Brown and you hard.
Oh, is that a sex thing?
It's like a Dirty Sanchez.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
I have no idea if that's a sex thing or not. I just wanted to say
it sounds like it should be.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. I'm sure if you go to Urban Dictionary, there's a Charlie Brown on there.
It will not be doing that.
I'm sure if you put two words together, it's probably a sex thing.
Yeah.
Any two words.
Anyways, you ruined my segue into bitching about the 30th edition
Well, just start bitching then. I'm not stopping you.
Start bitching. Well, we touched on it. We decided that it wasn't our thing last thing, but it still makes me mad. And it took me until like this morning to figure out why it bothered me, because there's a lot of stuff that Magic does that's like, it's not my thing, right? Like the Warhammer stuff. I didn't buy any of that.
You decided you were owed this, right?
I am one entitled asshole. Yes. No.
Okay.
I decided that I'm an entitled asshole. I've been playing since 94, 95. Give me my Black Lotus now, please.
That's how it works. You just walk in and then you say, I've been playing since 95. Where's my Black Lotus? They point you to the Black Lotus repository.
So it hit me. Maybe I read a certain tweet that I'm sure might be infamous by now by an ex-Wizard employee, but it hit me. The thing that bothers me about this set isn't the fact that it exists, because whatever, it's the fact that when they initially marketed it and how they're marketing it, it's like, oh, everybody deserves a chance to open one of these, open a beta edition cards, cracking up power. Pure nostalgia, I think, was the word that Mark Rosewater used on the initial stream.
Mm-hmm. I mean, to be fair, if you asked me if everybody deserves to eat, I would agree with you, but the United States does not seem to agree with that opinion.
Yeah, well, yeah. Wizards says they agree with everybody deserves to get this, to crack open these cards.
Everybody deserves it, just not everybody can afford it.
Everybody can the thing is that they're marketing it to people who have played, like they're marketing it to everybody, like, hey, everybody deserves this. Even before you played Magic, maybe you weren't around during alpha beta, this is a thing, we want to celebrate this thing. Also, you can't afford it. And that's the thing that bothers me. I would have been completely okay if they would have been like, hey, we're putting out this thing. It's for collectors. If you're not a collector, maybe this isn't your thing. Or like totally target collectors. Like Secret Layers don't piss me off. Like, because like they target collectors. They're not telling everybody that, oh man, just crack one of these bad boys open. It's pure nostalgia. Mm-hmm. Secret Layer is marketed towards people who collect things. It's like, what if, I believe the analogy was, what if sneaker culture meets Magic the Gathering, and that's where Secret Layer came from. Yeah. They're marketing that towards collectors. They didn't initially do that, and I don't feel like they've done that with the collector's 30th edition.
I feel like they've kind of done that just with their price point, but
right. Yeah, but what they're saying is not indicative of the price point.
Yeah, you don't drive up in a Ferrari and go, man, everybody deserves to sit behind this bad boy.
I mean, they could be right. Everybody deserves to drive a Ferrari. I agree with that sentiment. Not everybody gets to drive a Ferrari, though.
You're killing me, man.
What?
You're just deflating my.
So I will say my opinion on this product has not changed. But as I mentioned earlier, I noticed that a lot of people who were publicly for this product said they were going to buy it have been walking that back recently. A couple popular YouTubers / streamers who are self-proclaimed whales that I have watched have said previously that they were going to buy it and now have changed their mind because of quote-unquote fan backlash. Mm-hmm. And when I first heard this, I was like, you guys suck. I was like, that's a terrible opinion. You're like, I was real excited about this. I'm going to buy it. This is for me. And then you're like, oh yeah, but other people don't like it. So now it's not for me anymore.
Yeah. I don't want to sound like an elitist prick by promoting it because all my people that look at me or that watch my stuff that can't afford it or they're yelling about it. So I want my views kind of thing.
So that was my initial reaction is yours. Right. It's like, oh yeah. But actually, after I thought about it, I was like, you know what? I think maybe their opinion might be the right one. Now, I wasn't there to begin with, because, like I said, it was always outside of my price range and not my thing. But for collectors, this is an item that they're looking at as something that they can buy and grow in value. But the fan base is so sour on this card. I'm not sure it's going to have collector's value.
Right.
I was wondering that myself, actually.
Yeah, like the public discourse is so toxic around it that I'm not sure that this is actually something that's going to be worth collecting anymore.
Prices are not only affected by how much is available on market, but also about like demand for product, right?
Yeah.
So
it doesn't matter if it costs $1,000 if nobody wants it.
Yeah. If nobody opens them, then theoretically the prices would go up because there would be less in rotation, less in the market to buy. But if nobody wants it, then that number is meaningless because,
Yeah.
It's a proxy Black Lotus that stands to be worth some money because it's going to be a rare thing and people would want it. But if nobody wants it, then it's $5.
I think they should cancel the whole thing and just replace it with Magic the Gathering NFTs.
There you go. Probably have, because that's always turned out well.
I honestly think people would have been less toxic toward NFTs than they are towards this collector's pack.
Yeah.
I would hate it even more if it's NFTs, but that's another story.
I would hate it more. I would be actively against it.
Yeah, but I'd be like, you guys need to check yourselves. One last question before we move on. You mentioned they should just scrap the whole thing and start over. I get you were joking, but what if they scrapped it and instead of releasing randomized booster packs was like, here's one of every copy from this collection in a nice box. We'll slide it your way for $1,000. Do you think that would be better received by the community at large than randomized 60 card booster packs? Booster box.
Yes. Oh, it's 100% be better received, but also it's underpriced.
What's your price point for this? What do you think?
If I was going to say, here's a reprint of every alpha and beta card.
Well, it's not every card. But most.
Yeah, but there's like 5 cards missing.
A reprint proxy, mind you.
Yeah, proxy. Let's not get it twisted. It's not term illegal. This ain't Netrunner, kids.
$1, Bob?
See, I don't know what you put the price point at, but I just feel like when you're talking about the cards that you're talking about, there are people out there who would be willing to spend, even though they're proxies, a substantial amount of money on it. And, and the value of it needs to be what the value of it, I think, is when it starts out, or else it becomes the PlayStation 5. You know what I mean? Or something like that, where if you can sell it for a greater value than Wizards is selling it for, then it's going to be a product that's impossible for people to get. And that's going to turn into a problem.
Is 1,500 too much, too little?
I think 1,500 sounds right.
Okay.
I'm not a Magic employee. I'm not a person that crunches the numbers and knows all about the inner workings of stuff within Wizards and such. But they used to do this, right? They did this where they sell you one of each.
They did it once, the original collector's
edition. And it was like $50, right? And I've seen people complaining that oh, these are fake cards and you're selling them for this, and then this is what you could buy it back then. That was back then when they didn't know what they were doing. And honestly, if they ran the company like they used to, they probably would not be here. You have to check your thinking sometimes to say that all this you know money grubbing and all that stuff might not be 100% good for the game, but if they do none of it and they give their stuff away for basically free, then the game can't grow, right? So I don't know. The thing about having one of each printing is that the value is super high because of Commander, right?
Yeah.
So you can buy one of these things and be set as in Commander, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's super valuable that they don't have to buy 4. So you can price it higher because you only have to buy 1 instead of having to buy 4. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So I don't know. 1,500 might be I don't know. Whatever people would pay for it. That's
I really it would be decided by the market at the end of the day. I think they would probably do some tests on it.
Yeah,
see how the market would react to it. It might be more, it might be less. It would certainly be better received, regardless of it could cost more and be better received.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully, it will. In this imaginary scenario we're discussing. Hopefully, it's less than $28,971, which is the cost I spent opening up packs on MTG 30 Simulator to get 9 Power 9. And they're not even every copy. It's just 9.
I was getting a bunch of time walks when I did it, like a whole bunch.
Is like I was going like 3 or 4 times, and I'd always clear it before I got the ancestral recall that I was looking for. Always seemed to be the one I couldn't get. So
yeah, that's true.
Very rare. So if you guys want the thrill, that nostalgia, if you will, of opening up alpha beta packs, but you're not a whale, look that up.
How much of a thrill did you get doing that?
You should ask my wife. I spent way too much time clicking that button, opening packs.
Man.
Okay. It was at least a half an hour I was doing it, and I was like, oh man. So yeah, MTG 30 Simulator, look it up. Maybe we'll drop it in the show notes. I don't know. I thought it was fun. But let's move on to some news. You know? You guys
we haven't been doing news?
I mean,
I guess it's all news, right? I mean,
Magic Community Mad is news every week. So let's move on to some news that changes, yeah?
Yep.
Magic people happy.
Magic people? One of these days.
Never happened.
One of these days we'll write that line.
No Magic player complains about a set.
Yeah. Everyone is happy. Finally did it. It's when Mark Rosewater retires. He's like, we finally did it, guys. We've made everyone happy. My job here is done.
That would require some kind of mass brainwashing, right? Like
yes, probably.
The only way that happens is if like Lex Luthor succeeds.
Some Lex Luthor level shit.
Yeah.
So we have up on the news docket, Pioneer Challenger deck release update due to supply chain woes, blah, 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 blah. Release date for the European release of the Pioneer Challenger deck has been changed.
Just Europe, huh?
Yeah, just Europe. This does not affect North America. Is originally November 4th, same as everywhere else. Now it is December 9th. So
does that have to do with like Ukraine and stuff then?
All they said was supply chain issues, and I stopped reading.
Gotcha.
So December 9th, if you're waiting on getting that, is it Phoenix?
All those poor European Pioneer players, all 3 of them are crying right now.
Exactly.
And Ben is crying with them. So there's 4 people crying, just only 3 in Europe.
And
I feel for you, European Pioneer fans.
Posting an EU flag on his timeline in solidarity right now. Okay, so let's also move on to...
Do you guys ever plan on meeting together to finally play some Pioneer on paper? You and the 3 other people who want to play it?
One of these days.
We're going to stream it. It's going to be a thing. It's going to be a big event. We're going to call it Pioneer Fest. The largest gathering of Pioneer players ever. It's going to be the Woodstock of Pioneer, really.
Yeah, you must come in covered wagons.
Let's move on to Arena's State of the Game address was dropped on October 5th. You guys want to talk about it? You want to talk about Alchemy?
Sure.
I haven't even looked at what's in this yet.
Notably, they unrebalanced these tabletop versions of the card, so they're back in historic in their original form, not the alchemy version, which I applaud. That's my I'm yes, give me the real card. That's the one thing that gets me about historic is that they use alchemy balance cards.
Yeah.
But anyway,
so you don't like them making Magic a more balanced game, or you want the exact paper card every time, no matter what?
I want parity. So like if I know historic's its own thing, and like so that's why it's like largely not like if they did the alchemy rebalances to explore that's going to be pioneer, I think that would be very bad, because if you have a deck and paper and you want to play it, then you can't, but since historic is a digital only format, it doesn't matter as much. It's just when you play a Seeka's Chariot and you get one cat or two cats in paper, and then you go and value it online, and you're like, oh, I should throw this in my deck, but it only actually makes one cat, and now you're like, oh, that's bad, That's not as
bad.
good.
It's a bad card with one cat. It's
right.
a real bad card.
Well, good news, because now it has two cats again.
Yeah. The thing I appreciate. Yeah.
Unbalanced.
It's unbalanced.
So I am okay with this if they are looking at the cards and saying, you know what, the alchemy changes didn't work. It's too bad of a card now. We change it back. But if I think just like blanket doing it to everything is bad for that, right?
Well, yeah. These were rebalanced because they were in the alchemy standard. So these rotated out of standard. So now they looked at them in historic, I'm guessing, and they said this is an appropriate power level at the regular card for historic. So we're unbalancing because they're all, there's a Theros or not Theros, Zendikar and Kaldheim cards and a Strixhaven card. So they all left standard here. So maybe this is their plan going forward every time standard rotates to look at the list of balances and see if it's appropriate to give the higher power back.
Yep. I am with other Dave on this one as well. I appreciate that they're going back, and it seems likely that they did do it because they rotated out of alchemy standard. So I applaud them for that. I appreciate it.
So in the examples, is there a card that is still, I guess, playable after it's been nerfed? Like, would you put Cauldron Familiar in a deck or Meat Hook Massacre in a deck?
I think people were still playing 3 Fairy after he got bumped up to 4.
I've still seen Cauldron Familiars in historic here and there. I don't know.
It's because it can't block now. So it still does the thing you actually want it to, just not also block. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're right. Maybe stuff like that is still good for the format as a whole, since it's a digital only. I just don't.
Yeah, you're never going to get rid of the alchemy stuff in historic. It's here to stay. So you might as well just.
As long as it stays a separate format, I am 100% okay with them balancing cards.
Yes, me too. I agree.
And I'm also 100% okay with them revisiting it and saying, okay, maybe we shouldn't have balanced that. I appreciate those things, actually, for a format like that.
I agree.
Yeah, Luminarch Aspirant is good again. She wasn't terrible at the rebalance. She just didn't immediately get the counter.
Okay, so rebalances happened. They also released Alchemy Dominaria United, or as they're apparently calling it, DMUA. It dropped. I mean, I don't follow alchemy, and so I'm not going to be like, oh, these are great cards. But there was one particular card that did get a lot of talk amongst us when it was announced, and we just haven't got around to talking about it until right now. And that is Alpha of the Oracle. Do you want to read what that has to say? It's in the link. I didn't put it in the show notes.
Yeah, it's blue and 2 colorless. It's a creature bird wizard. It's 2/3 flying. When Oracle of the Alpha enters the battlefield, conjure the power 9 into your library, then shuffle. Whenever whenever Oracle of the Alpha attacks, scry 1.
This is an interesting card. it very interesting, but is it good or is it bad?
The answer is no. It's not. It's not good.
It is. I think it's not good, but I feel like maybe there was one amongst us who thought it might be good. I don't want to call him out, but
I'm just saying that you're gonna conjure Power 9 into your library, which of course makes your library bigger. We had this huge discussion about the drawbacks on this. I'm just saying that, maybe it's not as bad as it first sounds. I leave it up to people messing with this card to figure out what was it, how to break it.
So here's my thing with it, and maybe I'm sure there's ways to break it. The Goblin Tinkerer or something. Crazy where you're Black Lotus in every turn or something. Because in theory, if you have a token generator, it's 0. You could, Anyway,
like a Quarkman Ironworks or a grinding station or something.
Yeah. The problem with it is most of the Power 9 is only really great on turn 1.
Yes.
Right.
66% of the Power 9 is only at its best if you have it on turn 1.
It's a mana ramp.
Yeah.
Yep. And that is impossible to do.
Because you can't play this until turn 3, and then you have to draw it or find it or seek it or whatever. But
and the other ones are taking extra turns, or it's like we already have extra turn cards too that people are always breaking. So
I mean, Time Walk is a whole different kind of extra turn card because of the cost. But
well, usually they don't pay for the extra turn cards; they cheat it in somehow. Yeah.
Right.
So it is
what it costs when it's free. I think it's interesting, and this is the kind of quirky cards that digital only. The kind of quirky cards that showcase interesting things that you only get with digital only. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's good. I don't know. Did anybody? I didn't think I seen anybody in the greater interwebs suggest that this was like a drop dead amazing card.
No, it's probably better in Brawl than anything, I guess.
See, that's what I was thinking, but you're like, how do you you get one if this thing isn't your commander, which it can't be because it's not legendary,
right?
You get one copy.
You tutor for it.
You have to find it. You tutor for it, so maybe you get another copy, so you can put it. Well, if you go, how many black tutors are there? You can put it in a Grixis.
Yeah, I mean,
or a Demir.
Yeah, on Arena, I don't know.
I don't know what it is on Arena because I have 2 Brawl decks. I don't play a lot of Brawl on Arena.
Brawl is so much you don't necessarily have to find something.
Yeah.
You never have it as well, I guess there's some commander people out there that's the singular focus is one combo piece.
Yeah.
Or, assembling a combo with one card, one copy of it. Yeah. So tutors exist.
I just don't think, I think it's even worse in Brawl, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. I'm not sure.
The opportunity cost is so high.
I would be interested to see somebody that can break this card, but I think it's just more of a very safe play to hype the Power 9 for Magic 30. It seems like, this card could have been more broken, I guess. But they put let's just give you the Power 9 on Arena.
One last thing I want to mention before we move on. This card opens up the possibility of getting some sort of powered cube for Arena now, because obviously every piece of power is programmed in Arena and works. So I would expect some power cubes coming at some point in the future.
Are they going to? Because you're not going to have access to the Power 9 as actual cards, though. They're going to be all tied to this card.
But technically, the card exists now. If you're conjuring it, the programming for the card exists.
Oh, and so you're saying they may release...
They love to do the cube events. So why wouldn't they do a cube with the Power 9 in it?
That's true. Not so you can get the wild cards and stuff just in the cube.
Yeah, because cubes are always fancy.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. I guess I just misunderstood.
Yeah. Also, write this down. This is a prediction from Oracle Dave here. The event voucher that you get for Magic 30 when you buy the virtual ticket, you guys remember this, is going to be some kind of powered cube. That's my prediction.
Interesting.
You have a prediction on that, Ben?
That they will not. I don't know.
What's
the other
Dave's prediction is this one very specific thing. Ben's like, anything but that.
Yep, exactly.
What's your prediction, other Dave? That they're going to put exactly half Power 9 in the cube. It's an all Mox cube.
Power 4.5.
My prediction is it's going to be something super generic. It's going to be like historic, just a regular historic event, but that the rewards are going to be like 10 times the rewards you give anywhere else.
Yeah, it's probably going to be that. But it'd be cool.
Maybe not 10 times, but like more than you would get from a traditional event.
Yeah, pumped up rewards. Yeah, that's probably what it's going to be. It's probably going to be a draft token for a special draft.
And they'll probably also give you some special cosmetics.
All right. Well, speaking of special cosmetics, guys, how about... Speaking of spatial... they released the Unfinity Spaceland skins on Arena. I think they look hella cool. I'm not going to pay the 25 gold / 5k gems for them, but I definitely will pick them up when and if they ever become on sale.
Which they inevitably will be in that daily store.
Yeah. Eventually,
it may be like a year and a half, but inevitably they will be there.
I don't know, man. They're pretty sick. I'll probably spend 25k gold on that, man. Like that.
They are pretty sick,
dude.
Do you get any of the actual Shocklands with it, or do you just
get
a
separate purchase?
Yeah, that's a separate bundle. Yeah, it's
I can't.
If it was gems, 15k gold for the borderless Shockland bundle.
Yeah, if it was 25k gold and I got like 4 copies or even just 2 copies of each one and the skins, I would be about it. But
dude, Overgrown Tomb is like a spaceship that's like drifting in space.
I know.
Pieces.
That Godless Shrine, is my favorite.
Godless Shrine looks sweet, dude.
What is it? The Red White Sacred Forge. That one's
Sacred
my
Foundry,
favorite.
where
Sacred Foundry,
Death Starred.
Yeah, that one is like that's my favorite from that one. I guess last up for the Magic Arena stuff is the Ultimate Showdown. Did you guys play it?
No. What is an Ultimate Showdown? Is it like the final countdown?
That's exactly what I had in my head.
Well, I played it. I would like to be able to explain it to you, but I'm going to be perfectly honest. I don't understand what the hell was going on during the entire event. It was bizarre. The cool thing that I wanted to bring up was that...
Oh, was that the Omnipotence event?
Yeah, it was...
Okay, I did do that, yeah.
Oh, okay. With the human gamer avatars from...
Yeah, where you could pick either...
Yeah. So there was an Omnipotence style event. Is that what they were doing? I just like everything didn't cost money except when it did. Everything didn't cost mana except when it did. It was the...
Yeah, it's everything in your hand costs 0. You get some amount of mana, right? In order to use abilities, 2 of each land or something.
It was Wooburg every turn to cast stuff.
Yeah, and you get a hard hand, and you have a free mulligan, and then you can just basically drop everything in your hand.
Yeah.
And every
It's
turn
kinda-
you get 3 cards.
It's kind of nuts. It's a whole different way to play Magic, that's for sure.
Exactly. Well, it confused
It's like Yu-Gi-Oh.
my little peanut brain. I don't
believe so.
Get a new hand of cards every turn or something.
Oh, I don't know anything about that.
I don't know anything about Yu-Gi-Oh. Apparently,
I used to be able to play back in the day. I don't remember. So I'm gonna have to give me a refresher if anybody wants me to play Yu-Gi-Oh. Anyways, also because the avatars of the uncard human gamer cycle were in that event, they are now also available to purchase in the store, which is kind of cool. I'll probably pick up 1 or 2 of those.
Timmy and Johnny and Spike and
I like Spike.
Vorthos.
That's my favorite one.
Is that who that is?
Know that
I've seen this
Go.
person before, the Spike,
Yeah,
the tournament grinder. I've seen that before. I didn't know that's who that was.
yeah, it's Spike.
I don't know if now that I have the braids avatar, I will ever use an avatar that's not braids.
Dude, it's sick.
It is pretty cool. I'm building my way up towards that in the I guess it's the card sleeves is what you're working for in the Mastery Pass. But
yeah.
Let's move on to stuff that's marketed towards collectors and therefore not pissing anyone off. There's a couple notable secret layers that
they tease these. They haven't like actually.
I would not say that one of these has not pissed people off because I have definitely seen people griping about that first one.
Okay, so I got an email yesterday. It says click and swipe to find out what our next secret layer is. And I swipe it, and it's Post Malone. So Post Malone is getting a secret layer drop. It is a reskin of the card Kirix, Son of Yawgmoth, and it's called Post, Son of Rich.
Is that Post Malone's dad's name?
I assume.
If it's
I
not,
assume.
I'm salty.
Yeah, so that was like the teaser for that. I think they released. He's getting some lands along with it where he's drawn.
Yeah, there's some lands that he's drawn on, and Divided Opinion. Post Malone's father's name is Richard, by the way.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, Post Malone's getting a card, and I don't know. It's just, I guess, sure, why not? At least it's not like he didn't design a card. At least it's just a reskin.
Yeah,
he has been very involved in Magic recently. Like he's clearly a fan of the game.
Let me hold on. Let me back that up because I don't want to say at least he didn't get to design a card because that sounds really like exclusionary or whatever. I guess traditionally, like people have, like Bob and Paulo got like designed cards like Dark Confidant and Elite Spellbinder,
Shadow Mage Infiltrator,
respectively. Yes, sure.
Right. I don't remember who did that one.
Yeah, because they were really good at playing Magic on a pro level, so that was kind of like a hey, help us, So I guess if Post Malone did that, I wouldn't be upset about it. But I guess it's a secret layer drop and not in there. I think it is cool that he's getting a secret layer, I guess.
Let me ask, because I think this is cool, even though I would not call myself a Post Malone fan. He seems like a cool dude. He's really into Magic. He talks about Magic a lot.
And he's probably single-handedly got more people into the game than, Apollo De La Rosa or...
Yeah. Like, why would you not celebrate that? And not only that, but name any celebrity more associated with Magic.
None. There are none.
Yeah.
So
this probably should have been done already.
I'm not salty about this. I don't know why. What was the vibes you were getting from the people who were upset about this?
People who don't think Post Malone deserves a card, similar to what Ben was saying.
Look, Dracula.
It's mostly, you know who it is.
The
salty salts.
Yeah.
Dracula got a fucking card. What has fucking Dracula done for this game? How,
except in the inspiration for an entire plane that they've made multiple sets.
Yeah, but How many tournaments has Dracula won? How many games of Magic has Dracula played? Dracula ain't played no games of Magic. He gets a card. What the hell?
Or Ryu and Ken. Video games. What?
Yeah, Godzilla. I think he's done more to destroy Magic than he has to help it. He got a card.
But speaking of video games and Secret Lairs.
Yeah, they teased on their Twitter that they were going to cross Assassin's Creed. Sorry to stomp on you, Dave. I'm just really...
I just realized that I ran past your segue and I was just like...
That's okay.
I just realized that both links for your Secret Lair drops are for Post Malone.
Yeah, I didn't do that second one, but the Assassin's Creed is, there's no like, it was just a tweet that said, hey, you're going to like this thing. And then they just put a thing that says MTG Secret Lair X Assassin's Creed. And there's been I haven't seen any other announcements regarding it.
I thought they talked about it in that stream they did earlier this week, but I could be mistaken. I didn't actually watch it.
So assumably they're going to make like a Street Fighter-esque Secret Lair with Assassin's Creed, which is not surprising in the least.
What was the jumpy into the Bela Hay thing called in the game?
Oh, it's Leap of
Eagle
Faith.
Die? Oh yeah, Leap of Faith. Yeah.
Oh, see, that's going to be in the Secret Lair. They don't even have to in that bad.
I feel like there's got to be hidden blade equipment, right?
Yep, there'll be a hidden blade equipment.
It's going to be a reskin of ceremonial knife. Watch it.
Now, I think they might do a whole different cards like they did with Street Fighter, like not just reskins.
I feel like the only character you can use though, it's Ezio, right?
Yeah.
It has to be Ezio.
I mean, yeah,
like Michael Fassbender.
Yeah, please. He's a great actor.
Yeah, he really.
I suppose Desmond, maybe.
Yeah, you could have a Desmond's
been
operative card or something.
But like other than Desmond and Ezio, I don't feel like they've had any characters that have
resonated enough. Yeah,
I guess people really like the Edward, the pirate.
Yeah, from Black Flag.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, of course, big corporation gets with other video game corporation that just vomits all of their stuff on everything all the time, it being Ubisoft. Of course, they're cross with.
This will be the first time they have a Secret Lair NFT.
No. You're trying to make me cry.
Oh,
Ubisoft tried to get in the NFT game and it was a disaster.
Good.
They're like, oh, now we'll make. Hey guys, remember we tried to do NFTs and they failed. Do you remember fungible tokens? Remember when those were a thing? Let's make those a thing again. Oh, I think we can make cards. They're fungible. People acting like people coming out of NFTs being like, let's go back to fungible tokens. This cracks me up.
I've had water damage cards that have proven to be very fungible.
Moldy?
Well,
was that the joke?
Yeah, but
yeah, okay.
More like
make it sure I followed.
Fungus. Anyways, that really killed the discussion, which is cool because who wants to talk about Ubisoft? See, Walter, it is Wazoo. But if it makes you feel better, we can test it with a magnet later if you want.
Whatever. Let's just get out of this alley.
I have a room at the inn in the edge of town. Here it is. Pretty sweet setup, huh?
Damn. This might be the nicest place I've ever stayed at while traveling.
Guys, this is a shack made out of garbage behind a dumpster that is behind the inn. How much are they charging you for this?
What? Charging? I doubt they even know we're here. You can stay at the inn for free as long as you don't go in.
He's right. That's a solid travel tip.
Oh, okay, fine. People not knowing we're here only helps us at this point. Stay here tonight, and then tomorrow we get the hell out of town.
How are we going to do that, Walter? We are short on gold. I had to empty my coffers to figure out the boss was a Phyrexian.
I don't know, Mo. All my gold's back at our place, stuffed in a shoe.
Hey, guys, I still have the portal.
What?
How?
I don't know. It didn't seem right leaving it with all the trouble we went through to get it, so I took it.
Speaking of trouble, how did you survive the warehouse on Capenna? We thought you were dead for sure.
Not really sure. I thought I did die for a second, but then I woke up and I was surrounded by a bunch of goblins. They said I fell out of the sky. They were nice kin folk.
Huh. I think you might have been in Shiv. I read about that place. Lots of goblins there.
Yeah, that's it. Shiv, like in jail.
How'd you find us in Belinia?
My merchant friend told me about it once my merchant friend told me once he saw an extremely hairy goblin working at a greasy spoon. I kind of thought that sounded like you, so I came to check it out.
See, Walter, aren't you glad I didn't let you talk me into shaving?
Yeah, I'm really glad that by completely random happenstance, Wazoo found us. But how about we work on getting out of here? Can you still power the portal?
Yep, I sure can. Do you guys got any Halo? I keep asking, but nobody listens to me.
Oh my god, does it look like we have any Halo here?
Yes?
Wazoo, they don't have Halo here.
Well, then no, I can't power the portal. Sorry.
Let's talk about other things that should be banned. How about... You just gonna leave me hanging? You don't know where I'm going with this?
I thought you were gonna.
How
about the banned and restricted announcement that dropped earlier this week?
Cool.
Yeah.
I mean, Ben, you'll have to speak to this modern ban.
Yeah. You talk about the standard ban. I'll talk about the modern ban.
Sounds good to me.
And I will make noodle jokes.
So in standard, they have banned Meat Hook Massacre, which I partially understand, and also sometimes it's like the writing is on the wall. Like they clearly made a push to make Mono Black strong,
right?
Too strong.
In Dominaria, they were clearly aiming for people to be playing Mono Black, and then they were like, "Whoa, hey, Mono Black's too strong. We got to do something about it." Well, yeah. Okay, that was your goal, obviously, in Dominaria was to push Mono Black the way that they've been pushing green recently or pushing white. Clearly this time around they're pushing black.
Mission failed successfully.
Yeah. I do think Meat Hook is the right card to ban, and probably for similar reasons to what they said. It is the card that's been around longer. From a financial standpoint, it's hard to sell the new packs if your best cards are banned.
Right.
But even just from a keeping standard fresh standpoint, it's better to ban the older card than it is to ban the newer card. Because if you want standard to become fresh, you want to promote the newer cards.
Right. If you ban the new cards, then everybody just keeps using the decks that they were using before. Yeah.
And I do think that Meat Hook is the card that creates the most degenerative playstyle in that deck.
That card is so ridiculously good.
Yeah, no, it's insanely good.
The design of that card is like, mwah, chef's kiss. Like, it's so good.
It's a spicy meatball.
Yes, it is a spicy meatball.
I do feel for the people who have bought Meat Hook Massacres in order to play them in this new standard with their mono black decks.
Yeah, like just a recently buy. Yeah.
Yeah. If you recently decided, hey, I want to play mono black because it looks real fun because Braids and Liliana and Sheldred and the Raven Man and whatever, and you said I need to get 4 Meat Hook Massacres and you drop $200 on it, I feel.
Yeah, probably closer to 300. It was $70 or so before.
Last time I looked, it was going, but it has been a while since I looked. Okay. I have not.
Good news is I don't. It's 50 now. It was 70 as of like DMU release or shortly after. Well, it spiked after DMU, so yeah, it really went up, and then now it's back to 50. So you're right. It was 50, and then DMU released, and it went up to about 70, and then back down.
You know who's happy about this?
Players.
This guy sitting right here, because he's going to get, hopefully, I don't know if this is in the announcement, 4 shiny wild cards coming off this band. Might actually have enough wild cards to put together a standard
mythic wild
now.
Cards.
Oh, is that mythic?
Yep,
Yeah.
I thought it was gold. I thought it was rare.
No.
So
Never
anyway,
mind.
yeah,
It's crazy, right? That the rare wild cards are more valuable than the mythic ones.
it is crazy.
It is, and now I'm upset.
I get disappointed every time I get a mythic wild card. I'm like,
Yeah,
go away.
That's really weird too. That
Can I trade my mythic wild card for a rare wild card, please?
I will take 2 for 1.
I'll take 3 to 1. It's fine.
So yeah, I think that Meat Hook is such a good card that when you combine it in a deck strategy that is all about keeping creatures off the other person's board, like, yeah, it's probably the one that needs to go. Because if you try to, if it shuts out the weenie decks, like you said, but if you wipe the board, then lay a Liliana, then you're just controlling them. The rest of the time. So it's it's probably the one. It slows down that black deck for sure. But the good news is that, like, you can still technically use your Meat Hooks elsewhere, because, like, it's still a good card for the non-rotating formats too, and is used. So
it was one of those cards that I was getting tired of playing against in Standard, where every time it's like 70% of my matches are Meat Hook Massacre, and I'm just like, I'm so tired of this.
And you have to play, like, it's black is splashed into so many decks that you always have to plan around playing against Meat Hook. Like, when you build your deck, you got to account for Meat Hook. So,
do you think the banning of Meat Hook will cut down on splashing into black?
Probably. I don't know. I don't know Standard enough. What do you think, Superior Dave?
It probably depends on the color.
So you're
I'm going to say blue and
like Esper.
Yeah, I'd say blue and white probably still splash into black, depending on what white is playing.
Yeah. So
but red and green, I mean, they've had their own Jundee big stuff thing going on anyway, so it probably doesn't really affect them too much. They're probably not going to. Those numbers probably remain unchanged.
Okay, so
Modern ban.
They took the noodle out of Modern.
Okay. So yeah, you're
That's
on
what you meant by the noodle. I was serious. I had no idea what you were talking about.
Hey everybody, let's systematically ban all of the companions one at a time. And when the new one crops up that's a problem, let's ban that one too, instead of just banning all of the companions at once. No, I don't care about the other companions. We'll see. They're not as bad. Yorion was banned. They cited dexterity issues as being the problem.
Wizards caught wind of a class action lawsuit for repetitive stress injuries caused by shuffling Yorion decks.
So specifically in Modern, where it's banned, you have to shuffle a lot due to the fetch lands. And shuffling 80 cards is a different beast than 60. And it's all this shuffling is like all this time, and Yorion or 80 card decks in general have caused a lot of draws, games to go to turns, and that kind of stuff due to what they say is dexterity of shuffling. Some people are better at shuffling than others, and if you've been on
I think some people do that stuff on purpose too. I think there's a lot of people in the Magic crowd who get their kicks on frustrating you by taking forever to shuffle their deck.
So there was definitely a lot of talk about being in the it's like the Yorion bracket. Because there's a large, like, so part of the issue of Yorion in these 80 colored decks is like the Elementals deck is so powerful that it's a big draw to just pick it up. But if you don't really know how to play that game, you're probably that deck, you're probably gonna go to turns or lose. So there's specific like bracket part, like second round where the Yorion piles are, and you want to try to avoid those. So you either want to lose or you want to win to hopefully not get you have a lesser chance of fighting an 80 card deck. And these kind of things is why Yorion's banned, essentially. It's just, you never wanted to play against it. It drew, like, made games go longer than they should. It's like, anyway. Now, that's not to say that with the banning of Yorion, you can't play 80 cards. It's just you have less of incentive. You have a, one less free, well, not free, but it's a 4/5 flying.
Is anyone going to be playing 80 cards now that Yorion is banned?
The Battle of Wits deck, man. Those the three people.
Every once in a while, you see one of those sneak into a top tournament win.
Like in Vintage or whatever, yeah.
Even that, sometimes.
Legacy.
There was one not long ago that got a big Modern win. Like, I mean, when I say not long ago, I mean like a year or two ago.
Oh, okay.
That like randomly managed to eke out a top 8 Modern tournament win, and you were just like, who was like, man, you know what I'm taking? Battle of Wits.
Nobody will suspect it.
You gotta respect that game, though, man. Somebody just shows up.
So
Battle of Wits deck.
So back to Dave's question, are people going to play 80 card decks with Yorion gone? I do not think so, because the drawbacks of having 80 cards are having a free 4/5 that you can call to your hand at any time and then blink your elementals or whatever. That is a reason enough, but without that, there's no real incentive because there's too much of a drawback to
That's what I figured. It's just not streamlined enough.
Yeah,
so the companion.
Those decks will streamline down to 60 and go. Like I think the nail in the coffin for Yorion was the Rhinos players started splashing white and turning it into an 80 card deck to play Leyline Binding, which filled a hole that they could, grab a chalice or something that would prevent their Rhinos from existing or whatever. So they splashed and grew to 80 with Yorion, and then they were like, wait a minute, that's too many people playing this Yorion fellow. So Sky Noodle got the hammer. I think that the writing was on the wall before, though, just because of the poor play pattern. But I don't think you'll see. You probably have people for a two more weeks that'll try it in the Rhinos deck, because you didn't really need Yorion. But I think they'll pare back down to 60 because it's just more efficient.
Yeah, always more efficient. Okay, final question of this discussion, and then we'll move on. Yes or no? Do you double sleeve your Yorion deck?
Yes, because I'm a madman. But also, it's really hard. It's like significantly larger.
How is it backed up? Is it like elbow to hand? Is that how big that deck is? Double sleeved?
Let me see.
You need to take a picture of it next to a 60 card double sleeve deck, and then we'll put it on the cover art this week.
I want a picture of it next to a 60 card single sleeve deck.
Okay, do that, because that'd be funnier.
Or no sleeves.
No sleeves. I'm surprised you don't play with no sleeves, Mr. Inverted Controls.
It's less than a hand, the measurement of a horse. It's actually less than a hand. So, but it's still.
Look at you with your bougie units of measurement.
Well, it's just your hand sideways.
Measuring horses.
Depending on the hand, it's less than a hand.
Okay, so we put this on hold from last week, but let's talk about it now. Let's talk about Mishra, who is probably very upset he didn't get to go first.
Sounds like a Mishra thing to do.
Yeah, probably start another war about it. Hopefully this doesn't become a problem come November.
All right, so there's 2 cards that meld into one. We have Mishra, claimed by Gix. It's 2 colorless, a black and a red, legendary creature, Phyrexian Human Artificer. He's a 3/5. He's got a dump truck ass. Whenever you attack, each opponent loses X life and you gain X life, where X is the number of attacking creatures. If Mishra, claimed by Gix, and a creature named Phyrexian Dragon Engine are attacking, and you both own and control them, exile them, and then meld them into Mishra, lost to Phyrexia. It enters the battlefield tapped and attacking. Then you have Phyrexian Dragon Engine, which is a 3 converted mana cost artifact, or it's just a 3 colorless artifact. creature, Phyrexian Dragon. It's a 2/2 with double strike. When Phyrexian Dragon engine enters the battlefield from your graveyard, you may discard your hand. If you do, draw 3 cards. It has Unearth, 2 red, and 3 colorless.
What does Unearth do for me who doesn't know all the
You can
keywords?
play it from your graveyard. It gets haste. Sacrifice it at the end of turn.
That's nice.
It might actually be exile at the end of turn. Or
That's less nice. It's probably exile.
Look that up, and I'll talk about Mishra. Mishra lost to Phyrexia.
It is exiled. Yes. Exiled at the end of turn.
And then you go get him with Karn. Anyway, you wouldn't do all that. Anyway, Mishra lost to Phyrexia.
Yeah, if you meld it or you sacrifice it before your end of turn.
Yep. Or if you blink it back in, exile it, and then it returns to the battlefield, then it loses. It forgets it was unearthed. So Mishra lost to Phyrexia. The Meld creature is a legendary artifact creature, Phyrexian Artificer, 9/9. Whenever Mishra enters the battlefield or attacks, choose 3. The choices are: target opponent discards 2 cards. Mishra deals 3 damage to any target. Destroy target artifact or planeswalker. Creatures you control with menace and trample, or have menace and trample until end of turn. Creatures you don't control get -1/-1 until end of turn, or create 2 tapped Power Stone tokens. Jeez, that's a lot.
Yeah,
a lot of choices. You get to choose 3 of them when he enters the battlefield or attacks. I actually like the way they've been going with the ETB or attacks route recently. I think it's a design space that they're exploring that I really enjoy personally.
I mean, that's been around for a while.
They're like leaning heavy into it with stuff, and I dig it.
It's the first time I remember that is with the Titans in the first Zendikar block. But it probably was around before that.
I've also been out of the game for a really long time, so I never got to Zendikar before. So it's new to me, I guess. So what do we think about these cards?
I think that it's cool that there's finally a Dragon Engine that is actually an okay card. The one from Antiquities was kind of a sad sack.
Yeah, but for the time. I think the... Go ahead, Dave.
No, you go first.
I was going to say, I think the Dragon Engine is a good card. It's got some neat stuff with it. The wheel your hand and draw 3. What's that effect? There's a original card that they call that. I can't remember.
Not sure. But I think Phyrexian Dragon Engine is a good card, even if it's just the wheel effect.
Yeah.
I feel like Mishra is a good enough card on his own, but I just find his ability really weird for the colors.
Yeah.
When I think of a red-black attacking creature, I don't think of it draining life.
Yeah, so the red part would be attacking aggro, I guess. I don't know. And the black part would be draining.
Yeah.
Gain drain. I don't know.
It's just not something that's traditionally
right. It does feel,
red-black archetype.
It does feel weird. Notably, though, it has the same thing whenever you attack. So Mishra doesn't have to attack.
Yeah.
To get that effect. So Mishra can sit back like Winota and just be completely out of harm's way and just have this nasty...
But if you want to meld him, he needs to attack.
Right. Okay, so the ideal play pattern for Phyrexian for these cards is like on turn 3 you lay the Phyrexian Dragon Engine, then turn 4 you lay the Mishra, and turn 5 you attack and meld. I guess is the thing. That's like what they've designed. Of course, there are other ways to do other things.
Yeah,
the proper play pattern? Turn 3, you lay the Dragon Engine. Your opponent lightning bolts it. Turn 4, you lay Mishra. Turn 5, you unearth the Dragon Engine and then attack.
Yeah, it is nice that this one is a little bit more removal proof because Yix is a little bit harder, or Mishra is a little bit harder to kill
than Urza.
Yeah. Well, just in a lot of your cheap stuff isn't going to hit him, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the 5 back end.
Right. The 5 back end or the converted mana cost 3 or less are in it, you know?
Yeah. I think the Phyrexian Dragon Engine has multi-format possibilities, I guess.
Yeah,
because
I feel like if you're going to be in standard, you're going to play one of them, you're going to play both of them.
Yeah, because the thing with the Dragon Engine is you don't have to unearth it in other formats. You can, cheat him in another way, and then he would just stay, right? And then you get that wheel effect.
Yeah, because it does not say he has to be unearthed. It just says he has to enter the battlefield from your graveyard.
Correct. So you can persist him or something where he goes to the graveyard and comes back with a 1/1 or -1/-1, and then get the wheel effect again. Because that's really what you're going for in like a modern sense. Less about the double striking 2/2.
Yeah.
More about the wheel. But yeah, I think.
I mean, big Mishra, melded Mishra is certainly terrifying if he is on the field.
Yes,
but he can also be board wiped easily.
Yeah. Fateful absence gets him again.
Yeah.
And also anything that destroys artifacts, because he is an artifact creature as well.
Yep.
So
I know this isn't standard issued, but the melded flip side doesn't have a casting cost, so does that mean he can be fatal pushed?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. He would
What kind of cliff
he could be eliminated?
Standing by to just push that entire monstrosity over. That's some
to boot.
That's some Sleeping Beauty Disney levels of
how high does the cliff have to be? Yeah.
Okay, so last question, and then we'll wrap this bad boy up. I think. Who's better, Urza or Mishra?
The melded version? Is that specifically what you're asking?
Assuming the play pattern where you're going to want to meld them as the completion, so all three cards take into account.
I think they're both really powerful in the melded sides. I think the Phyrexian Dragon Engine and the Might and Weak Stone are the better of the pair.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know which one's more powerful. I'm hottest on the Phyrexian Dragon Engine card itself for the whole package.
I think Urza is the better card.
The melded version?
Yeah.
Yeah, it probably is. Although, I mean, dude, 9/9 Trampler every turn.
I destroy artifact or planeswalker is real. I just feel like Mishra's easier to kill.
Yeah, that's for sure.
In standard, because yes, you can Fateful Absence Urza, but Mishra dies to a braid.
Yeah.
But even just in what standard right now,
it dies to Liliana, dies to
Wandering Emperor.
Right.
Ooh. I think it bears mentioning that Urza dying to Faithful Absence will never not be funny to me. I can't. It's just hilarious. Okay, I said this was going to be the last question, but I actually thought of another one. There are apparently 3 meld cards in this set, because when they put Urza and Mishra together, they realized that they could go for a cycle if they made one that was green. What do you think that might be?
Is that real?
Yeah. Mark Rosewater said it on a stream. As a teaser.
Mono green?
Well, he said, I think you could guess what color it is. So I assume it had green in it at the very least.
Gotcha, green. So it'd be green, and then we're guessing what the character is.
Yeah, what the character would be, I suppose. Which
Big Morrow.
Multani?
Mm-hmm.
I think back then it would be Morrow, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, who was the soul of Argoth? Or that was the name of the island, right? The island that they met on to do their final battle. It was Argoth, right? Is that
Titania?
wrong? Is that what it is? I don't know.
Yeah, Titania, Protector of Argoth is a card.
Ooh. Yeah.
Is there any green creature from then that has some kind of artifact or equipment that would be notable to make its own card out of?
Ooh, yeah. To complete the cycle, it would meld with a artifact. That's right. So,
right, you're right.
Ooh, yeah. I don't know. That's interesting. I just thought of this and didn't do my research, but what would it be?
Yeah, it would stand to reason it would meld with an artifact.
So if it's someone from the time period, I'm just not sure. But like, you could do like a Vivian with her arc bow. If you, I don't know who all's traveling back in time. I don't think she was one of them.
Yeah, we don't know yet.
I think it has to do with Argoth, because this all represents the final fight, right? So it's Urza turns into dragon engine. I mean, Mishra turns into dragon monster. Urza turns into a planeswalker, and then Argoth was there. So the soul of Argoth, or the Titan, or something having to do with the island that got destroyed. Probably a Morrow sorcerer or something is my guess. Or something.
It's possible.
Needless to say, I'm excited to see what it is, because that was like a teaser that really got me peaked.
Because doesn't Multani has some kind of staff, right?
He does. Staff of Multani.
Gonna have to go deep in the magic lore. I'll call up the Vorthos that we know and pick their brain about it.
I feel like there was an elf back then too that had a particular sword, but I cannot for the life of me remember anything else about it other than that.
I don't know. Interesting. We're gonna go, oh my god, that makes so much sense when they reveal it.
Yeah, here in a month when they finish doing all the spoilers.
It's either gonna be that reaction, or it's gonna be like, who the is that?
Yeah. It's
gonna be one of those two.
Yeah. In between.
We're gonna see it, and we're gonna be like, oh, duh. Of course, it's Reese. Yeah. Oh, I bet it's was Aladmri around back then?
Yeah. He was, I think.
Because didn't he have some kind of crown or something?
He did.
That was an artifact.
Yeah, Eladamri could be it.
Yeah, maybe.
But he's not a huge Titan. I feel like it have to, like the Meld version. Eladamri plus something turns into big, giant, scary monster.
Yeah, I feel like something has to represent the forces of Argoth that were there. Just
Hogak. It'll just be Hogak.
Hogak melds with Hogak if Hogak is in the graveyard and one is on the battlefield.
That's actually not a bad design, actually. He had two legendary creatures. If one is in the graveyard, then they meld into big one.
I should be on the Wizards design team.
Yeah. And then they immediately ban it because it's way powerful.
Consider this my application. Okay. Well, let's wrap this show up. Tell everyone where they can find us, Ben.
You can find us on Twitter at MPGPod. You can find me on my personal Twitter at BeNiceMPG. Where can they find you, moderator Dave?
They can find me on Twitter at Dave_MPG. Where can they find you, other Dave? Have you found yourself? I noticed that you had trouble calling in this week. That's why we had to push the podcast back, because you were very lost.
I am in Oregon. Yep. Yeah, Oregon.
Did you successfully avoid getting dysentery?
I did, but apparently the covered wagon that I took in with was trying to recreate the Oregon Trail. And so I am, successfully, I might add, but I am now further away than where I planned on being.
You grinding some organs.
Don't make it weird.
Well, the organ grinder card. That's a thing.
I understand that reference. So hopefully you can make it Magic 30 on time. You got, what is it, the 12th now at time of recording?
Yeah.
Got like half a month to get there.
Yeah, you're almost there. Just got to go south a little bit on the 1 or the 3 or whatever that highway is in California.
Yeah. Just, hopefully nothing catches on fire. Fire season is over out west, right? I think so.
Fire season is never over.
All right. Well, that's the show, folks. Cue the music.